Hello, my name is Jana Smith, and I'm honored to serve as your Director of Section 504 and the Americans with Disabilities Act. Thank you for participating in our Section 504 annual training for all educators. Please be sure to confirm and document your participation with your campus administration. This training includes what is the purpose of Section 504, the Office of Civil Rights, Section 504 processes and procedures, your child find obligation, FAPE, evaluation pathway and eligibility, student service plans, accommodations, and finally, how to access your Student 504 plans in Skyward.
What is the purpose of Section 504? Section 504 provides opportunity for students to access educational programs. This includes all clubs, athletic events, field trips, and school-sponsored activities. Section 504 is a civil rights law. It prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability. The law states, no otherwise qualified individual with a disability in the United States shall solely by reason of her or his disability be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Section 504 is about non-discrimination. It's about providing equal access and leveling the playing field. It's not about modifying the curriculum, lowering expectations, or removing general education requirements. Section 504 is an anti-discrimination statute. Every educator within the public school system carries obligations for the implementation of Section 504 for identified students. Participation in and completion of this course indicates understanding of the educational responsibilities associated with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. One component of the U.S. Department of Education is the Office of Civil Rights. OCR enforces Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. The Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights mission is to ensure equal access to education and to promote educational excellence. Their role is to enforce civil rights laws prohibiting discrimination in educational programs on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, disability, and age. The Office of Civil Rights investigates Section 504 complaints. They examine the procedures in place for identification, evaluation, and implementation of the plans. Parents do not have to exhaust formalized procedures for grievances before filing a complaint with OCR. Failure to provide accommodations is considered by OCR as discrimination. Let's talk a little bit more about your role as an educator in Northeast ISD and your child find obligation. A primary legal obligation of school districts under Section 504 is to identify students that reside within the districts who are suspected of having disabilities and a need for 504 services. Section 504 requires districts to annually undertake to identify and locate every qualified student with a disability residing in the district's jurisdiction who is not receiving a public education. All schools must locate, identify, and evaluate all students with disabilities, regardless of the severity of the disability. Whether you're a staff member, a parent, a patron, or even another student, anyone can refer a student to Section 504. Please talk with your campus 504 designee. This also includes children who receive passing grades and are advancing from grade to grade. Here is a child find and eligibility scenario. A parent repeatedly asked school administrators and staff for a 504 referral over a period of 11 months. To no avail. The parent asserted that the student was having difficulties that were not being met by informal accommodations. The school declined the referral because this student was making A's in every class. After the parent contacted the superintendent directly, a 504 meeting and evaluation was held, and the student was found eligible, likely due to a mental condition. The parent actually did file a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights. How do you think they responded? If you guessed that this was a violation, you were right. OCR found the district may have violated child find, although the district agreed to enter into a resolution agreement before formal findings were made.
All Section 504 resources can be found on our district website on the Launchpad. Simply click on the Section 504 app. Under District Processes and Procedures, you will find all of our resources. One of the guidance documents includes our District Section 504 process flowchart. In this app, you will also find our trainings, Section 504 Family Fact Sheet, Legal Compliance and Disability Information.
The next part of this training will walk you through the Section 504 process from identification to evaluation and placement. Section 504 requires school districts to provide a free and appropriate public education to each qualified student with a disability in the school district's jurisdiction, regardless of the nature or severity of the disability. FAPE under Section 504 is the provision of regular or special education and related aids and services that are designed to meet individual educational needs of persons with disabilities as adequately as the needs of persons without disabilities are met. In the next few slides, we will talk about the Section 504 evaluation pathway. Under Section 504, a qualified person with disabilities is defined as any person who has a physical or mental impairment which substantially limits one or more major life activities, or has a record of such impairment or regarded as having such impairment. Determinations are made by a group including persons knowledgeable about the child, the meaning of the evaluation data, and the placement options. What is an impairment? Any physiological condition that affects a bodily system or any mental or psychological disorder. A physical or mental impairment includes, but is not limited to, contagious and non-contagious diseases and conditions. Please review the following diseases and conditions, although this is not an exhaustive list. A physical impairment is any physiological disorder or condition, cosmetic disfigurement, and/or anatomical loss of one or more of the following bodily systems. A mental impairment is any mental or psychological disorder, such as intellectual disability, organic brain syndrome, or emotional or mental illness. How does the population of students protected by Section 504 look in Northeast ISD? 55% of students qualify with a mental health impairment, such as emotional or behavioral. 21% qualify as a student with dyslexia or dysgraphia. 21% qualify with medical, such as a physical illness, condition, or dysfunction. And 3% qualify with deaf and hard of hearing or visual impairment. Substantial limitation does not mean severely or significantly restricts. Rather, a comparison of limitation must be made with age-level peers, nationality, and decisions must be made on an individual basis. Major life activities include, but are not limited to, caring for oneself, performing manual tasks, seeing, hearing, eating, sleeping, walking, standing, lifting, bending, speaking, breathing, learning, reading, concentrating, thinking, communicating, and working. Major life activities also include operation of major bodily functions. A student's disability does not have to impact academic functioning for Section 504 eligibility. Eligibility may hinge on the impact of chronic health conditions on a bodily function, even if academic performance is completely unaffected. Students with emotional and behavioral conditions, including ADHD, may be impacted in thinking and concentrating, even if they are earning passing grades. The differences between the medical world of formal diagnoses and treatment and that of educational determinations for the purposes of FAPE often collide in Section 504. The Section 504 evaluation process includes the gathering of data from multiple sources. Everyone who works with the student will have information about the student in all settings, including the parent, information from all teachers and staff who work with the student, campus administration, the school nurse, any medical or outside information, grades, attendance, and assessment data. It is not always the grades that provide the committee information. How did the student do, and what impacted the performance? Who determines the placement and services? The Section 504 committee, which includes persons knowledgeable about the student, meaning of the evaluation data, and placement options. After the committee of knowledgeable people determine the student meets criteria for Section 504 services, the committee will next develop the student service plan to develop a comprehensive plan to remove barriers, including determining accommodations to help the student to be able to access the general education curriculum. Take a look at the following pictures. Who has an opportunity to hit the ball? Who has been accommodated? Section 504 accommodations are based upon the disability and the needs of the individual student. Accommodations must be individualized, necessary to receive FAPE, and related to the disability. Accommodations must have data to show the need for the accommodations from a variety of sources. Accommodations are basically any adaptation that are made to the environment, curriculum, instruction, and/or assessment practices in order for the student to participate actively with other students in the general education classroom and school-wide activities. Accommodations are supports and services provided to help the student access the general education curriculum. They change how a student accesses information and demonstrates learning. They do not substantially change the instructional level, content, or performance criteria.
This slide outlines the teacher responsibilities. Prior to the first day of school, teachers will receive information from their Campus 504 coordinator on how to access their student Section 504 plans. Teachers must begin providing accommodations and can use the accommodation log to track and document effectiveness of accommodations. Contact your Campus 504 coordinator if changes are needed. The Campus 504 coordinator will email all teachers of record the student's new or updated 504 plan throughout the school year and provide the teacher with an accommodation tracking form following each meeting. Section 504 plans can also be accessed from Skyward. Teachers must provide all accommodations on the service plan as they are legally binding. The next few slides will walk you through how to access your Section 504 student plans in Skyward. You will follow the steps below. First, log into Skyward and click the hamburger. Click on Gradebook and click on Grade Sheet. Choose the class period for the student whose accommodations you are trying to access. Once you have the student pulled up, you will click on the small I to access their profile. Then click on Attachments. Then you will click on the download icon next to the Special Programs documentation. There is a blue arrow indicating where you click. This will download a file. In the upper right-hand corner of the web browser, you can access the file by clicking on the download icon listed in the picture below. You can also open a folder and go to your downloads. You will see the last file you downloaded entitled Special Program Documentation. You click on it and it will open this screen. You're almost there. You click on the blue 504 icon and the 504 accommodation plan will open. This will open your student's entire 504 plan. You will need to scroll through to find the instructional accommodations and STAR accommodations. I also encourage you to read the deliberation box.
Thank you for participating in the annual 504 and Child Find training. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me by phone or email if you have any questions or need assistance.